Between the rise of the Kimrog Empire and the tumultuous Demon Wars, there was an enigmatic era. A time when brave souls traversed oceans and continents in search of glory, riches, and power. Let us tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello and welcome to High Adventure. We are back, and the brothers have uncovered a enormous stash of many useful supplies and things that were looted from seemingly over a very long period of time in the mysterious subterranean cave system of this yet to be named race of aquatic beings. Who you guys fought, but you don't really seem to know much about them. Captain Fu and some of the other sailors have referred to them as sea devils. But you guys, now the camp is very stocked with useful supplies. And moreover, perhaps, all of the survivors, all the sailors now have weapons at their disposal, as well as you guys. From the many basic weapons that were recovered. A lot of tools and supplies, useful supplies, have also been gathered. The one thing that you weren't able to find was any ale or wine. But in the morning when you wake up, you see Zhao Chen, the bartender and cook from the ship. He is set up in his kitchen, which is now expanded thanks to some of the pots and pans that you guys actually found in the loot stash. And you see, not only is he like stirring up he's stirring something that's like cooking, but then you see that he has two large like clay jugs that, you know, he has like these lids on, and you see him kind of peek in and like mash it down and stir it and then put the lids back on. And as you guys kind of rise, you see out just 50 feet out, you see one of the rafts, and you see some of the fishermen fishing, and you see them deploying some nets, and you see another fisherman walking up the beach with a trap, and the trap is loaded with what looks like some crabs, and the sailor brings the trap over to Zhao Chen, and Zhao Chen looks and he's like, well done. And he takes these pinchers and he reaches in and pulls one of the traps out, and he drops it into one of the big pots of boiling water. And he's like, this will make for an excellent breakfast. Good morning. Good morning, brothers.
Good morning.
Good morning, Zhao.
Good morning.
Elder brother Zhen, a moment of your time, please, sir. And he beckons you over. And
I approach him.
When he gets over, he kind of steps away from the cook area over to those mysterious clay jars. And he says, I am working on something that will be something to help alleviate our boredom here on the island. And he pulls off one of the lids, and you see a bunch of mashed fruit. And there's kind of a filmy white kind of surface, and he says, 2 more days. I think this will be something that will resemble a beverage of recreational sorts, if you take my meaning, sir.
I think this will be a delight.
No, of
Much
course,
needed.
you will understand it is nowhere near the caliber or quality of our Sacuran wine, but the fermentation here seems to be working. As long as I move the jugs to the shade, once the sun has reached its apex, they must not get too warm, nor too cold. But it would appear that the process is happening as one could hope for. I have another jug over here with some different fruits as part of the experiment. But if my estimation is correct, they will be sufficiently fermented in another couple of days.
So I
See,
lean
brother,
in. Sorry.
you-
I
you'll
lean
be
in on
back to
him.
normal soon.
Oh, I hope so. So I lean in on that. Hey, one of the jugs, you keep it aside. Don't let anybody else.
Yes.
And I just shake my head and
He nods and he goes back to the cooking area. And you guys see Captain Fu kind of rising, and he comes over towards you guys with one of the wooden crates that you guys recovered. A lot of the empty things that you guys recovered were still very useful, and you notice that people started almost kind of creating like shopping carts effectively. They're using some of the wooden crates to kind of sort the different fruit that they've recovered from the island. You see that some of the wooden poles that you guys recovered, as well as some of the rope, has been strung up to create a means of kind of putting fish over a low fire, and they've enclosed it in some slats of wood to kind of make a small like smokehouse, and they're kind of smoking some of the fish, to preserve it. And you just see that there's like a lot of these things that have already become useful for the camp. Captain Fu approaches you and he says, "Good morning, Brother Zhen. I wanted to thank you once again for the bounty that you discovered on the island. We are, I suppose, blessed by the Celestials that we have not been victims of any attacks or raids thus far from those sea devils or from any other opponents. But we must continue to be vigilant, of course. What say you to today? Perhaps we should scout some other parts of the island. I was thinking that perhaps it would be wise for us to begin building some structures to stay in, but also to perhaps cache some of our own items as a backup to this supply that we have now. Should we ever be raided, we are so close to the beach, perhaps somewhere inland and also higher up. Would you be amenable to perhaps using your superb scouting skills to find such a location here on the island?
absolutely. I look over at Cade and I think you're going to be the best one to provide us with that knowledge. So
I
Excellent.
could do such a thing.
Yes, I just feel that perhaps our camp now is very suitable, but it is also very exposed. And should any unwanted attention from the sea come this way, we would be very easily spotted. Whereas perhaps more inland, we could be less visible and perhaps have a little more cover from potential threats. I am also
Yes,
thinking, of course, of the safety of your most honorable mother, to perhaps have her not be right on the coast should any such attacks happen. And he bows respectfully. I will leave you to it then, as you are most honorable.
Do you think, Captain, that we should have a meeting to discuss our options?
I most certainly do. Perhaps once the morning activities are finished and everyone has eaten, perhaps in a few hours, it would be good to...
Maybe we could go do a little reconnoiter and come back and discuss.
Yes, this would be quite amenable.
Okay.
He bows and he walks away. So you guys, again, you see like some people that are already up, some people that are kind of just waking up, and then you see some people who clearly were part of the guard duty overnight who are now like going to some of the small like huts that have been built to go to sleep. So you guys are fully rested. Where do you want to go on the island?
Well, I would say me and my two brothers, we kind of step off to the side and we have a little discussion about that. What do you think, brothers? Where should we explore as Captain Fu instructed, or should we do something else?
We need to return to the underwater structure and see what we can find. But maybe first we should find a suitable location for Captain Fu.
Yeah, I don't think that would take too long. We could do the cave system in the afternoon.
I agree with that. It's on their way anyway.
Yeah, we could explore a different arc of the island and head that way, and then come back and then go back that way.
Okay, so is that your intent to kind of go up on the surface and explore?
Yeah, try and find a location such as Captain Fu described.
Okay. Well, you know that you're on the side that you're on, that you've explored, kind of to the northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And along that coast is where you found the underwater entrance into the cave system, as well as that above ground
Formation.
Boulder formation. Yeah. But you as a dolphin swam around the entire island, but you know that the southwest tip of the island is a little more open land, and maybe a little bit higher than the coastal level that you're on.
It's open, but it's not like plains.
Right. Okay. I mean, there are trees. It's just not the dense jungle. So it's like there's a mixture of some trees and some open ground.
That's perfect.
But that could be an area that you could scout. The only thing is that you've never done really is follow the river to its terminus. So the freshwater river, you're not far. You're not sure exactly how far that goes or where it goes out. If it goes out to the sea or if it dead ends into something. So
okay. I'll bring that out to my brothers as those two possible things. I'll be like, brothers, on my lap around the island when I was the dolphin, there was a area on the island that had more open area, but also still some trees and things that could be used for cover and concealment. And perhaps too, we could follow the river and see where that goes, if that would find us a suitable spot as well. I leave it up to you two.
I think being near the fresh water that the river provides would be a good choice.
Okay, I agree with you, brother. It'd be less of a hassle for us to keep fresh water. I could create fresh water for us, but that would require me to expend my magic that could be used on other things.
And your magic has come in very handy thus far, so I would not want you to expend it on something that we could have readily available.
It is there if necessary.
Stick with the natural source. It's the easiest.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys, for the time that you've been on the island, everyone's been drinking the water from the river. Yeah. No one's gotten sick thus far.
Thank God. Thank the moon.
So you head into the center of the island, a familiar route now, and actually it's because other people have gone this route to collect water so many times. It's kind of a small path, like the brush has been cleared and it's kind of a very evident path. You get to the river and you begin walking to the southwest to kind of follow the river. And you walk for about 6 miles. Nice walk. And it's not exactly like a fast pace because you're kind of walking up and down the riverbed and there's no clear paths through here. You kind of have to clear brush every once in a while.
I'm keeping an eye out for wildlife myself.
So again, you see like at least 20 different species of birds. But you also see those little squirrel monkeys, basically. Like they're and they do the same thing every time. Like You could see them up there, and they kind of watch you. And then when you guys walk closer, they like skitter away.
Right. Some spider monkeys. Good to know.
Yeah. So the river continues, and you can tell that as you get towards the end of the jungle, you see, the foliage becomes a little more sparse, and the canopy is a little more open, so the light's coming through, and you see that the river kind of opens up into kind of what looks like a basin. Okay, so it kind of opens up into a pond, but there's like rock walls that kind of go around. So you're kind of like walking along the river, and it kind of terminates in this bowl.
Okay.
And the ledges like of this basin go up about 20 feet, and then there's like land above. My video just froze.
Yes, you did.
That's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, you look
perfect
good.
pose too.
Oh, screenshot.
Screenshot.
Yeah, I forgot to screen cap that.
Yeah. So it goes up, and it's like picturesque thing, right? It's like a reverse waterfall. Like instead of the water coming over the top and into this basin and then draining down, the water kind of ends here.
Interesting.
Pool looks very clear. There's a little bit of like rocky sand around the edges before it hits the walls. You guys kind of climb out of the bowl, and you look out, and it's some sparse trees, but then some open land, and the soil seems to be pretty tenable. There's like a lot of wild grass and shrubs and stuff growing.
And corpses of trees around out as it like it's open more, but is there like some trees?
Yes, yeah, there are some clusters of trees kind of spread out. So it's not like, and it's not right up at the coast, right? You're like, the coast is still a couple miles away.
Yeah.
But it seems
like
a good spot in terms of like being close to fresh water and also having land, but not being right on the coast.
Question.
Would we be able? Sorry, go ahead.
The elevation of 20 feet when you are up at that height, what's the visibility? How far can you are you still under the canopy, or you're above the canopy?
No, you're so there's definitely like jungle below you.
Okay.
But there's still trees above as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you on the island, you've gone to a high point of the island, which is why the water didn't just flow out to the sea.
Okay.
Other important question. Does this basin, that's our pond or whatever, does it look naturally formed, or is it more shaped by someone?
No, it's definitely more naturally formed.
Okay.
You could see where maybe over the years or centuries how like it has eroded. But it's definitely a deposit of hard rock in this area. So
you said it looked. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, so you're like, not like a mountain, right? But just whatever is underneath the soil here is probably like hard foundation kind of stone.
Looking into the water, he says fairly clear. Can I see the bottom, or what can I see in the pond?
Yes, I mean, you could walk out into it. It looks like there's some reeds and stuff kind of growing up around the edges, but it looks like it's only maybe 12 feet deep in the very middle of it.
Oh, okay. If it's only that deep, I'm gonna tell my brothers. Let me make sure real quick. There's no other entrance in this pond, and I'll dive down and give a little look just to be absolutely sure.
Make a perception check.
That went somewhere else.
Would the fish be able to swim upstream before they grow and get stuck in our pond, so that there would be fishing available?
Oh yeah, there's fish. You see fish. Yeah.
We wouldn't have to go back
That's
to the beach every time we want to fish.
11. 11.
You hold your breath and you swim around. When you get to the middle, you kind of you get some light, but you don't have dark vision, do you?
Not at the moment.
Yeah. So it's kind of dark, and there's like, little not seaweeds, but like, natural plants and stuff at the bottom. And you feel around the bottom of the pond. Some of it's rocky and some of it's muck, like just dirt.
Yeah.
But you don't see anything that would, alarm you or feel anything. Now, if you had dark vision, you'd have a clearer sense of what's under the water at that depth.
I might do something else later, but that's all I wanted right now. I'll come back up.
Does the area look like we can fortify defenses from here?
Defenses from the coast?
Defenses from any way that maybe raiders or pirates would
an attack would come at us.
So if you were up above the bowl, right, and you kind of had, an opportunity to actually build some kind of defensive structure, you feel like you could certainly fall back, maybe building ladders or something into the bowl, or you could certainly go back into the jungle around the bowl to avoid any kind of coastal things.
I could also help build some structures like I did before with dirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you could move earth in a number of ways. I mean, frankly, it seems like the soil is fertile, in this area. Nothing's agricultural. It's all like wild, but it seems like fertile.
But it seems like a nice area.
Yeah, it's not like a rocky, like horrible rocky area or like a desert area. It's very, very rich, moist soil.
I mentioned to my brothers, if we survive this, brothers, maybe we can claim this island for our own and set up our own place here. Some good farming lands here.
Agreed.
But anyway, there's nothing underwater that I can see. Maybe we should report back to Captain Fu.
Yes, let's do that so we can continue on our expedition.
Yeah, I agree. Let's head back.
Okay. You guys head back. Well, I'll actually ask you. Do you want to go back up the river, or do you want to go south and then follow the coastline back to your camp?
South, we can cover more ground and find more stuff that we have not seen yet.
We could do a little more exploring that way.
Okay, so you head south. You get to you get to the coast after about 3 miles of walking, and you see another kind of cove at the point where you come south from, and it's kind of like the cove where you guys made your camp, and it looks like there's maybe a sandbar about 50 yards out, because you could see that like the water kind of comes into this cove very like more gently. It's not like waves hitting the hard coast, right? It's there's almost like a little bit of a rocky sandy beach.
A little nicer than ours.
It's a little nicer, and it's not right up against the jungle, but it occurs to you that like if you wanted to move around in a boat, for example, that this would be a spot where you could tether up a boat and go fishing or just whatever. That it's the water's a little calmer here because of that breaker, the rocks and the sandbar that are kind of about 50 yards out. You continue walking up the coast, and after 8 miles, you don't really see anything. Actually, make perception checks.
Yes, sir.
Jesus. 17.
Okay. So basically, after about 13. 8 miles, you're almost back at your camp, and you see some sea devil footprints. They look like they're maybe about a day or so old. And it's kind of the same thing, similar to what you found before. They're not like single file, like trying to hide their numbers. There's like just two distinct sets
Yeah. How
that
many?
look like they walked out of the jungle to this point and maybe just walked out into the sea.
How many sets?
2.
Okay.
So, and you walk for another mile, and then you guys get back to your camp. Around that time, you see the majority of the camp is kind of up and doing things. There are people, like hanging up fish in the smoking hut. Zhao Chen is like kind of cleaning up things, and you see your mother's actually laying out, like she's putting clothes up onto kind of like a clothesline that she's run between 2 trees. And there's some of the like the clothes that you guys that were in some of those crates, the loot stuff. And you see she has like a smile on her face, and she's laying out these outfits, and you could tell that they're kind of feminine in nature.
Yeah.
Like their dresses and gowns and stuff, but they're definitely not Sacuran. Like they're very much of a different kind of style. And you notice your mother seems like very, kind of intrigued by these, this wardrobe that she's discovered, and she's kind of hanging them up and like examining them, and she sees you and she's like, "Oh, good morning, my sons."
Good morning, mother.
Like Captain
Good
Fu
morning,
told
mother.
me that you were going to survey more of the island. She says, "Aren't these interesting? These garments, they must be from one of the other cultures here. They are not certainly Sacuran. The fabric is very rough if you feel it, but it would seem that it is very warm as well, if the weather should turn cold, which I do not imagine it does here."
I go and fill out the clothes, see how they are, as she was talking about.
They're quite beautiful, Mother. Have you found anything that you want to keep for yourself?
And she smiles and she's like, "Well, I do not know that any of these heavy clothes, these garments, are practical for such warm weather here in this part of Nisia, but I do like the colors and the stitch work on this one." And she gestures to this elegant gown. And it's kind of like, you could tell that it probably at one point in time, it was like a very elegant gown, and that it probably sat in a crate for years. So it's a little worn. And she's like, "It does make me a little sad to think of the people who once owned these things, and what became of them." And
It is sad, mother.
she says, "Do you think, my sons, that we will get off of this island? Will we ever find Amron and our family's holdings?"
Yes, mother. I think we will get off this island. I
We'll
will
get
use
off this
all
island.
of my power to make it so.
As far as the rest, only time will tell.
And she nods. At this time, you hear Captain Fu kind of calling people together, and you see crew members kind of move over and kind of around, and people kind of circle up a little bit into where your camp set up, that big camp, the sail that you guys found, how they set up like a huge kind of like meeting tent. Everybody kind of gathers in there. You guys kind of sit in the circle, and Captain Fu addresses the crew and everyone. He kind of looks around at you guys, and he looks at the crew, and he says, "We have been most fortunate to have survived such a treacherous storm and series of attacks. The sinking of the Celestial Queen. I cannot take credit for your survival or mine. It is entirely due to the courage, to the bravery, and the honor of the brothers Zhen. We have also been fortunate to find ourselves on this island, an island with fresh water, an island with some edible foods, and indeed, we are fortunate to be in good health. And furthermore, once again, to have the perception of the brothers Zhen in finding this great store of goods. And though we are no closer to understanding where we are now than we were before, at least we are alive, and we can sustain ourselves here, it would seem. Between the available wildlife here that can be hunted, the bounty of the sea, and that which grows on the land. But at the same time, this is not where we were supposed to be. And many of you have families, as do the brothers Zhen. We have all lost something, and I'm sure many of you seek to return to Sacura. We must speak then at this council concerning the matter of what should be done. And I would urge all of you to listen first and then speak your terms. And remain level-headed in these matters. And he nods and he says, I would like to yield and to hear the counsel from the brothers Zhen concerning some of their ideas. And he nods and he says, Shao Zhen, you are the eldest. I would hear your counsel.
Thank you, Captain Fu. It's a difficult decision to push forward when we're such limited access to anything. I think we did really well and have acquired a lot of things that have made it a lot easier for us to maintain our sanity on this island. And I hope in the near future that we get off. We need to be vigilant, and I think we've shown that all of us have taken it upon ourselves to push a little bit more. And I think that everybody's concession, as far as the brothers and everybody here, is that we get off this island as soon as possible in a safe manner. So we'll do whatever we need to do to accomplish this. And I think looking at my brother Cade here with his expertise has made this a little bit easier for us to transverse on this island and gain knowledge. But we still need to just to buckle down and get ready for this move. And I need everybody's 100%.
You see many of the sailors, like they nod in agreement. Captain Fu nods and he's like, thank you, Shao Zhen. And I speak now to Cade for your counsel and the wisdom that you may share with us. Muted.
Yes, I step forward a little bit, kind of like so everyone's in my about 30 feet within me.
Okay.
For a specific reason, and I tell everybody, thank you, everyone, for your hard work. I have a few options myself, and I would put them forward for everyone's council to decide upon, because it involves all of us, of course. I could send a message in the sky made of clouds and produce a short message basically telling that we need help here. But as I've already discussed with Captain Fu and my brothers, we understand that that could be a risk to invite unwanted help. So I would ask that you think about that. That way we can make a decision and see if we want to do that.
As you mentioned this, there's like several like murmurs and like people like kind of like leaning into each other, and then there's other people who are like, yes, we should do that. Like, so that you see kind of a little bit of a mixed reaction. You see some people kind of cautious about that, and then others that are kind of like yeah, come on, let's do it. You know, and they're and one guy even is like, yes, and like Captain Fu is like, it is good to know all of the council, and thus I would hear the counsel of Brother Cho Zhen. And he nods and bows.
Remember, there is still an imminent threat with us here on this island.
Murmur. Like you see several, when you mention that, like several people like kind of look, they like murmur to each other, and like some of them nod, and then like other people are like, they like nod solemnly at you, and you even see some people like rip their swords, you know, like in strength. Continue.
We must remain vigilant in forming our defenses, while my brothers and I seek out additional information from this island. So, I think that we should work diligently on building rafts and things that we can use to escape the island if necessary. We do have other plans, most of us, to be in other places. But while we are here, we must take the necessary precautions to ensure our safety.
About 5 or 6 of the sailors kind of do like the firm nod in agreement. And then there's a few others that are kind of like whispering to each other. Captain Fu begins then kind of gesturing to each sailor in turn. And kind of in the montage of the council meeting, you get a mixture of inputs. A few of the sailors clearly want to get off of the island as soon as possible and get back to Sacura. A few of the sailors want to get off the island, but are content to stay with or follow Captain Fu and perhaps find employment working on a ship somewhere around Nisia. A few of the sailors, surprisingly, aren't in any hurry to get off the island, but more see this as an opportunity. And one of those sailors kind of speaks up, and he's like, I respect the counsel of the brothers Zhen, and of course of our most honorable Captain Fu. But other than the Sea Devils, there is no man who has claimed this island. And now, we do not have significant resources, of course. You are wise in this council, but is it not possible that we could establish a settlement here, and over time, and perhaps with trade, this island could become a new settlement and a new colony? What would stop us from this? Perhaps there are more riches around this island, even greater in value than that which the brothers Zhen have discovered. Perhaps there are valuable things here that could become trade commodities in time.
Brothers, may I?
Of course.
Sir, you are correct. There are many things on this island that seem to be able to sustain us. However, there's much island that is yet to be explored and discovered. There could be things just as well adversely to that may do more damage than good. So we must know what we are dealing with before we can make any decision of settling.
Several of the sailors nod, and they're like, yes. And then The guy that you were speaking to, he nods and he's like, yes, I understand. But I simply wish it to be known that perhaps there are some opportunities. Certainly, I can see why it would be important to leave. And he says, likewise, you are from honorable family with holdings, and you certainly would like to claim those things which are of your family's holdings. But some of us are lowborn. I have nothing great to return to in Sacura or anywhere else. But perhaps this is an opportunity for those like me who have nothing to build something. And he doesn't seem angry. He just seems very matter of fact about this.
Right.
Can I speak up?
Yeah.
I understand your position, and it seems logical. And as my brother Cho said and stated many times, his position is logical. Right now, we are all equals. There is no sovereignty. There is no class structure. We are all equal because we are in survival mode. We all must survive. A lot of our friends and kin have perished in this journey, and I think we would do them an injustice to be rash and hasty in our decisions. If we can establish the security and safety of this island moving forward, your dream might come true. It might be feasible. Captain Fu, I'm sure here, would love to have a base camp on his travels and know that he has men like yourself, and he knows your due diligence of providing him services here, and maybe that can be established. But for now, we should all focus on safety first and a means to get off the island. And if that is established, we can talk about creating a settlement and those who choose to remain behind to maintain this establishment. But till then, everybody needs to be focused on the same outcome.
There are many nods. And Captain Fu, after Shao Zhen's speech, Captain Fu, he's like quiet for a moment, then he says, the wisdom of this council and the voices of all who have spoken has been honorable and respectful. And Shao Zhen is correct in his assertion that no matter how we were born or what families we come from, we are now in a position of survival. We should begin exploring ways to get off of the island, perhaps more so to find where we are. We have assumed that we are somewhere amidst the islands of Nisia, but in fact we have no certainty. Our navigator, Minzu, may the Celestials guard his soul, was claimed when the Celestial Queen was capsized. We have no sense of how far off course we are. We may even be on an island somewhere many, many leagues distant from Nisia. But what is important is that we stay together and stay strong in this endeavor. And perhaps in time, yes, this could become a settlement. Perhaps we can build towards that while we are exploring ways to leave this island. We will continue to ensure our survival here. But at the same time, I will have a group of you who are willing to begin working with the brothers Zhen to prepare for the possibility of departure. And he kind of looks around and he nods. And when he stands up, he kind of bows to everyone. Everybody else stands up and bows to Captain Fu. The sailors kind of drift off and they kind of go back to their various activities, and everybody's busy, whether it's unpacking and sorting out the loot that you guys came through with, or, you know, fishing, or peeling, you know, fruits and vegetables. Everybody in the camp is kind of busy. Captain Fu comes over to you guys though after everybody disperses, and he looks at Cade and he says, "You are imbued with gifts of great power. Your ability to conform to the appearance and likeness of beasts has been, without question, one of the great reasons why we all have lived. I am indebted to you. I most certainly would have drowned with the others, having sustained that head wound. But you brothers saved so many. I ask you this now because I do not know where we are. Without Minzu's navigational guidance and the amount of time that I was unconscious and the storms, I have no idea where we are. But I do know this, that simply sailing out on a rowboat for any distance more than a mile off of this shore could be the death of anyone in that boat. As we are creatures of land, we rely on the strength of the wood of that boat. And as small as it is, once we go further out into the ocean, it cannot sustain itself upon the waves. As I'm sure you remember, having to navigate so difficult a task. And so I have a question, one which I did not wish to present in front of everyone, out of respect for you, Cade. But my question is this: are you willing or capable of taking the form as you did before and swimming out even further into the ocean to perhaps scout out where we are, to perhaps see if there are any ships beyond the horizon that we can see, to see if there are other islands nearby? Is this something that you could do? Is it something that you are willing to do?
Thank you for your question in private, Captain. Capable? I certainly could. I could take the form of the fish that I was, or mammal that I was, and swim out for 2 hours and come back.
But I feel that your ability to become this creature, you could swim much further and faster in a short amount of time than perhaps someone in a rowboat could go. And also, should there be any trouble, your ability to escape in this form would be much more efficient than some people in a rowboat.
You're right, Captain. And I think I will think on your question, and I will give you an answer soon.
He bows and he says, "Please understand, I did not wish to put you into peril, and certainly not to suggest such a thing within the council of the entire camp. But as a veteran of the seas, I do not have great hope for us leaving this island unless I know that there is a destination that we can reach within our means.
I understand, Captain. Thank you for keeping it between us at the moment.
He bows, and then he kind of bows to all of you guys, and he walks off. So the three of you are kind of left again, kind of on your own. And by now it's like lunchtime, so you're on your own.
Did I sense anything during my little talk in the middle of the council?
No, not a single drop.
Okay. That answers my question. And I turn to my brothers. So, brothers, shall we do some more exploring?
Absolutely. Yeah. I had one other question I had to pose to the brothers, and I lean in and I say, it makes sense to perhaps, if we can't get off this island, to establish a more secure location for ourselves. Why don't we have Captain Fu build a observation tower at the highest point on the island where it's visible in the 360, and establish a really secure area there, and then leave the base camp here as a support tree to the area till it gets fully built. Because it sounds like there's a lot of people that are interested in maintaining an establishment or a colony, perhaps. And maybe that's where we're at, till we remove the threat of these sea devils or devil creatures. It might be a good idea to create this while we're out there exploring and securing the island further. Plus, being that high up in the air, we can perhaps hoist a flag or something more visible from the sea that somebody might see, and use that not only with Cade's ability to form clouds and whatnot to give us the much needed aerial observation of some ships passing by, but it will definitely help us to create this colony here, at least start it as a backup plan.
I agree, brother.
The topography of the island is relatively flat, so it's not like in the middle of the island there's a high point. Sure. You could certainly go up to, you could have somebody climb a tree and rig up rope or something between a tree in the middle of the island and your camp, kind of a relay rope system, and maybe have some bells on one end or bells on the other, so that you can kind of tug on the rope and that would kind of ring an alarm. But you don't really have a sight line. You don't have a visual. Okay. You're like at the top.
Yeah.
The rock formations, where were they as far as elevation compared to everything else? Not to make this dragged out.
At the same
okay.
level. Okay. So they're also not even technically within sight, right? Because from where you guys are to those formations is almost 10 miles, like 8 miles.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not even if you were 300 feet in the air, you wouldn't see it from 8 miles away.
Okay.
Let's put that on the back burner for a minute. It's still a good idea, I think, okay, brother. But let's go up while we have daylight. Let's go get these.
Yeah, let's go.
Cade, that
yes,
when you did swim around as a dolphin and you did the perimeter, that the northern tip of that island is where you saw some of the flotsam and jetsam floating in from that other shipwreck that you guys saw, where you got the canvas.
Yeah, all this stuff. Yeah.
But you didn't explore that too much on land.
Right, I just swam by.
Right. So, and that's also kind of the direction of where
one of the cave systems kind of
the river comes under too. Yeah.
Right. We could travel that way while we're heading towards the underwater entrance, right? Just to check it out.
Yeah, you can go north. Yeah, so if you kind of go north and then cut west,
we can
toward the chute into the cave.
Underwater. Yeah.
So you guys travel north for about 4 miles, and you get to kind of the northeast tip of the island, and you're looking out over the ocean. Make perception rolls.
18.
Oh,
Stupid dice.
natural 20.
Nice.
Yes, thank you, because I rolled a 3.
I have a +3, so that's 23.
Yeah, I have a +7. Big freaking good that did me.
Ooh.
50.
Okay, so who had over a 15? Okay,
Both of them.
but you didn't.
No, I had a 10.
I need you to roll a d6 for me and just tell me what the straight result is.
Oh
A
shit.
D6.
I'm not going to tell you whether high or low is good.
That's fine. That's fine. It's a 5.
5?
Yes, it's a 5.
He trips.
Yeah.
into the mark.
Okay, you guys are like, you're like, yeah, okay, this is, kind of a rocky area, no beach, it's kind of like rock and then just waves crashing.
Yeah.
Deep. You're looking out in the sea. You don't see any flotsam or jetsam. You don't see any wreckage. And then Shao and Cho, you look and you're like, is that something floating? And just, you estimate maybe a mile out, you see something in the water, like what looks like a boat, not a rowboat, and definitely not a big ship, like a fishing boat.
Oh,
It's
shit.
about a mile away from where you guys are.
That's look, brother Cade.
I bump
We're
Cade.
both
He,
like,
he turns my head from looking inland to the sea this time.
look at that.
Oh, shit.
Now, I mean, it is a speck on the horizon, and only because of extraordinarily high perception roll, Shao Zhen and Cho following up and being like, yes, that's something floating out there. And you see something.
Uh-huh.
Can't see who's on it.
Yeah.
There's only one sail. It's not a big ship, but the sail and the boat that you see out there.
Dolphin
Once-
form.
Yes, I was gonna say that. I was gonna try and do it in character, but
Sorry.
I'd be like, brothers, I could go out there right now. You think I should?
Go.
Yes.
Go.
Oh, it's either one of two things. He's either marooned or there's somewhere else nearby.
No.
An
If
island.
there's no one on that ship, it's ours. Maybe I'll make sure no one's on that ship.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Be careful though. Be careful. We
Yeah.
don't know.
yeah, I'm gonna just leap out off. Well, yeah, because there's no beach. I'm gonna find a spot where I can like dive in and just shape change dolphin and then.
Okay. As a dolphin, your swim speed is incredibly fast.
60, yeah.
You start swimming in that direction. Every once in a while, you kind of pop up, and you guys see your brother in dolphin form kind of like leap into the air, and you're like, oh, he's doing acrobatics, but really he's just looking for the boat. And then
Go off.
And you in about 7 minutes, you make it out to this boat, and you see that as now you are close, you could see that it is a fishing boat. It's not a huge ship.
Yeah.
But it's a fishing boat.
Yeah.
And you could see and hear about 5 distinct men on this boat. And they have nets, and you actually avoid the nets.
Yeah.
But like you see that they have nets and that they're drawing up, and you hear them throw out another net, and you see it sink, and then they're kind of waiting. So you're sort of like staying out of the range of their nets. You're like 60 feet away maybe.
So obviously I have blind sight, but as a dolphin, I can still see. What do I see as I jump around? Like I don't get the sense that these are like pirates, do I?
No, because you see the nets, and you see that don't have any weapons. Like you do a couple of these.
Yeah. Do I see what kind of clothes they're wearing?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I want to see if they decide to harpoon you first. So, okay.
If they do, I'm killing them all, and I'm
Okay.
taking their fucking shit.
After about 5 minutes of kind of circle, you do like a kind of come to the surface to look, and you see like one of the men point, and he's like, "How about blah blah blah? How about blah blah?" And he laughs, but he's speaking some language that you don't know. You distinctly see something that all of these men, they look different from you and your brothers.
Right.
They have kind of larger eyes. They have like brown hair. Some of them have light brown hair. Some of them have dark brown hair. Some of them have like black hair. They have like beards. A lot of them have beards. And their clothing is they are not Sacurans.
Right.
They are some other kind of people. And the language they're speaking is definitely not Sacuran.
Yeah. Shit.
and they, but they're you don't see like weapons on them.
Yeah.
And the sail is down, so it looks like they're basically they're kind of just
They're fishing. Yeah. They're trolling.
And it looks like basically, they see you as a dolphin, obviously. But then you kind of go down and you go around. They don't bother.
Okay, great.
How long are you kind of like in the zone?
Save their own life.
How long do you stay around them?
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I've assessed that they don't seem like an immediate danger, or they don't seem like pirates at least. I'm gonna
I'm going to say that there are 5 of them who are like actively fishing.
Yeah.
And then like one of them who's kind of standing up by the rudder.
Yeah. I'm going to drop wild shape. And I'm going to, as like, I'm underwater when I do this, so they don't like see the dolphin turn into a human.
Okay.
And then surface and then start calling out to them. Help. Even though I know they don't understand my language.
So remember that when you guys were on the ship, that some of your friends in the crew were starting to teach you a little bit of Nisian.
Yeah.
And Nisian is not its own language. It's kind of a combination. It's a trade language of a mixture of other things.
Yeah.
I want you to make an intelligence check.
Okay.
See, people think that intelligence is useless.
Hopefully this guy doesn't screw me over. Kinda did. Intelligence. Just a straight intelligence?
Yeah. So, make
10.
a roll. 10. You remember hello. You remember how to say hello in Nisian. And then you're kind of waving. You see,
and they're like, what?
You see one of them look over and like he mutters something to someone else, and they're like, they look and they're like, they're shocked. Like you see them look around. You see the man that was by the rudder, he barks off some orders. He's like, Kaku, and you see one of the men run over and he grabs this thick rope and he winds back and he goes, and he just whips this wad of rope out. And it kind of splashes about 20 feet away from you, but like you could swim towards it.
Yeah, I swim over.
And you hear them, they're like,
yeah. I swim with the rope.
You grab the rope and they start two of the guys start pulling it in, and they help you up on the ship, and you're like waterlogged.
Yeah.
And they pull you up on the ship. Now here, I was gonna say they see your weapon, but I remembered they don't because you gave your brother Shao your scimitar.
Yeah, I don't need it.
So they don't react the way that I thought that they were going to react.
That they were gonna
up on the ship. Was that a plan or was it luck? Who knows? Let's say it was fortune. They pull you up onto the ship, and you see like they're like amongst themselves, like, and they're kind of talking amongst themselves in this language you don't understand.
I don't catch any words.
And the one that looks like the captain, you hear him say something that you understand. He's like,
Yes.
"Ga nishnimasu Sacuran," and they go, "Oh,"
I say yes, Sacuran.
and they say, "Kuab Vogam." You've never heard these words.
Right. I try to like to start spewing out my little bits that I can remember of the Nicean, whatever I can.
I'll let you make another intelligence check.
Pencil, toilet,
That-
drink.
Yeah.
All right.
Your mother is a stinky water buffalo.
Let's hope I don't roll a 1.
Don't defend.
Nat 20, baby.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Screw this
All right.
thing. Screw this. That's
So
what's been screwing me.
here's what I'm going to tell you. You remember 10 words. I'm going to let you say, this is like the message spell. Think
Right.
carefully, because I'm going to let you communicate 10 words. There's no more rolls after this.
Understood.
10 words that you want to tell these guys.
Okay, I'm gonna count this on my fingers.
No coaching from the peanut gallery.
No, I got it. Sacuran. Family. Shipwrecked. And I point, so I don't have to use a word.
Good.
And I say, I don't remember the number. How many we got? 13? People?
Yeah.
14? I use that word, that number,
Okay.
13 or whatever. Please help. That was, yeah. So I got 4 left. Can you help us?
Okay.
It's 10.
So this doesn't happen just like that, right? It's like
Yeah.
It's like over the course of 10 minutes, there's this like
I'm trying to
back
work
and
it.
forth discussion. And the one guy that was steering the rudder, like occasionally will drop a little bit of Sacuran on you. He will respond to you, and in turn, you can understand 10 of the things he will say.
Okay.
He says, our settlement nearby. And he points to the east, to the northeast.
And I'll be like this. Like how far? Close?
He
Far?
says, pirates, and he looks at you.
No.
He says, bring your people to the coast. Tomorrow. No, bring your people to coast, not the. Bring your people coast tomorrow this time.
I nod.
This time.
I nod, and I take note of what time of day it is.
Okay, so it's midday.
Yeah.
Like 2. And then he looks at you and he's like, Humakti Shanu Shinsa. And he goes over to the boat that you're on and he pats the boat and he points to you.
I'd be like this. Broken. And I also kind of mimic like somehow like a sea monster. Or like a wave.
And he points to you and he says Sacuran, and he points to the direction that you pointed where you guys were. Sacuran?
Yes. I nod.
And then he starts talking to the others, and they're like, you could like make an insight check. You don't know what they're saying, but you can kind of maybe you can read their vibes.
No. Okay. My passive is stupid high too. Yeah. Damn it. That's a 12.
All right, you get the impression that they're a little nervous.
Understandable.
And you see that like part of them keep looking out into the ocean, right?
Like how the hell did I get out here?
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. and he says,
go ahead.
The captain goes over and you see him take a skin, okay, like a water skin that's mostly empty. He dumps the water out.
Yeah,
and you see him go when he blows it up like a big air balloon, right? And then he shoves the cork into it and he sticks it really tight, right?
Okay. Oh, I know what he's doing.
And then he hands it to you and he goes, Sacuran, tomorrow this time. And then he kind of points to you in the water.
Yep. I take it because I'm not trying to show off yet. And I dive and I start swimming as a person.
Okay. So you start swimming. You see they're pulling up their nets and the other guys are getting the sail open and as you're kind of swimming away, you see them get their crap and they load it into their boat and they turn the rudder and they kind of start sailing back towards their island. Okay. Yeah. So when they're out of sight-ish, you could, either swim back or you can turn into a dolphin and go a lot faster.
How far am I from the island?
They were a mile out from the northeast coast of the island.
Right. I'm not going to waste time. When they're out of sight, I will wild shape and get the hell back.
So you dive and then, okay.
Yeah.
You get back. Meanwhile, brothers.
Smash cut.
You saw your brother swim off as a dolphin. You saw that boat was out there for a while. And he didn't come back for it's been like a half an hour and you're standing by the coast. And then you see the boat, like the sail come up again and you see it kind of going away from you.
Do we see any markings on the sail or just plain canvas?
Just a plain, old, stained
Is the canvas the same canvas that we found in the shipwreck?
If you mean the same as in not beautifully stained, a beautiful, vibrant color like Sacuran sails, then yes, it's like a plain white hunk of sail.
Just like the one we're using as a tent. So okay.
You guys have some moments of concern because you see this boat sailing away and your brother comes back. And then just as you're like, what should we do? Like, whoosh, this dolphin dives and then in midair turns into your brother. I don't know if that happens that way. Yes, it does.
No, I was
an acrobatics check.
Damn it, I was going to say something else. I was going to say something else. I was going to come out the water like freaking Predator, man. Ooh, that's pretty good. Acrobatics?
Yeah.
That's a 18.
All right, so no BS. He comes out like as a dolphin and then turns into himself and like does a somersault roll and stands up. And his hair is wet. And he flips his hair back and it just sprays you guys with salt water. Carry on.
I'd be like, I'll do my landing. I'm like, brothers, I have great news. I found people that are not pirates.
Oh.
Were you able to
communicate? There's a settlement to the east. It was really difficult to talk to them. They're not Sacuran. They're somewhere local Nicean type people. And we were able to communicate a little bit, but I was able to get my message across that we were here shipwrecked and that we needed help. And they told me we have to be here tomorrow at the same time for them to come pick us up. There are settlements over there to the east.
Did you understand that they're picking us up, or did they say something else? Because that
the
boat
few words that they told us, one of them kind of knew some Sacuran words, and I and I remembered some of the Nicean trade language, and he was able to tell me, "Be here tomorrow, this time."
Were they armed?
No.
They were fishermen.
No,
They
no,
were
I know.
fishing.
I'm asking the brother because I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
that-
I didn't see anything, unless Belz says it's something.
No,
different.
and I'll clarify. Even when you got on the ship, they didn't have like swords or bows or anything. They
Mhm.
had tools and rope, and like the closest thing to arms they had were like harpoons, and those
Yeah,
were like
it's normal.
hanging on wood pegs.
Yeah, normal fishing things. Right, and I communicate that to my brother. Shao.
Okay, so that's good news, brothers. Good news.
Even-
Sounds like
Sorry, please go ahead, please.
no, we found civilization for the most part. We found other people, so that's great.
And
Even
now we know that we are within the islands of Nisia.
yes, even if they don't come see us, assuming they didn't lie, obviously,
We can
we
find them.
could go in that direction that they pointed their colonies in. Because why would they think we'd even do that? They know we're shipwrecked. They don't know we have boats, or at least rowboats anyway. But should we continue our exploration too?
I think we should definitely
Yes.
continue the exploration and then go back and then make a game plan.
Yes, we'll deliver the great news tonight.
Yes.
Well done, brother.
So you guys,
Well done to you. You guys spotted the ship.
You
Didn't see
are-
anything.
you're about like a 4-mile walk west to that rocky, area where the fissure leads into the cave. So you guys kind of hike back through the woods, and as you're hiking back from this point, you come to kind of again a rocky, similar to the sort of rock, the stone that you saw. It's sort of porous,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a lip, kind of like what you found on the southwest side of the island. But in
Yeah.
this case, you see this rocky thing is looks like it's kind of a natural spring, and you see water flowing down, and this
Okay.
seems to be the start of the river.
The river. Wow.
And it looks like there's a natural spring, and then the water
Right on the.
goes.
Sorry.
No, it's
ahead.
not right on the coast. No.
Oh,
This is
Okay.
about
3 miles in.
yeah. This is so I said like as you're going towards the
okay.
Yeah,
We're cutting across.
you're cutting across. So this is
Yeah.
about 2.5 miles in from the coast. Is this
Okay.
rocky, hilly area where you see the spring appears to have its beginning.
Right.
And
Interesting.
you see it kind of flowing gently down, and that's the
Mhm.
water you've been drinking. You continue and you get to the northwest side of the island, and having made this journey twice now, you figure out your bearings and you find
Mhm.
a rocky entrance.
All right. I waste no time. All right, brothers. Give me 10 to 11 minutes, and I take my moon pendant and I start doing my ritual cast of water breathing. And then if anything happens in between that time, if not, I give us all water breathing for 24 hours.
You guys, you feel the power of your brother as it has grown, and
Because this is new.
yeah,
I've never used it.
and you see that after this 10-minute of concentration, you each feel like a tingling kind of from your mouth down your throat, almost like you're drinking something a little citrusy, kind of that aftertaste of tingling.
Mhm.
And then your brother's like, we can breathe water now, but you're not in water. So do you go down the chute?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys
Yeah.
climb down the rope. You get into the pool. You kind of like, I mean, are you wearing all your clothes? You taking them off? What are you doing?
Well, I'm not really carrying anything except my wooden shield. But before we get in the water, casting dark vision on all three of us.
Ooh, doubling up. All right.
I am doubling down.
So-
I'm burning
so you
through
are
it all.
You are in the cavern, the loot cavern, and you see, the pool that you saw before. You guys can see now fully in it. You even see leading away from the pool, the underwater, cave tunnel. I need
Brother,
to know
how-
what you're bringing, though. This is important because
How-
just because you can breathe underwater doesn't mean you have a swim speed, right? So
No, you're right. You're right.
Brother, how many weapons can you morph into your skin?
Whatever
Just
I'm
what you're
carrying.
carrying?
Whatever I'm carrying.
Shall we let him carry our weapons?
Well, you're the
I-
only one with a weapon.
I got my fists. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm-
Shao
I
Zhen,
imagine-
you get in the water.
Actually, I've got a really bad thing to tell you. I don't have any wild shapes right now.
Shao Zhen, you get into the water and you do a test, and you're breathing underwater. It's this strange feeling. You're like, what is even happening? Like you're under the water and you're in the pool, and you're not choking. You're just breathing, and it's a strange.
Such an experience.
Yes.
This is
I-
wonderful.
Yeah, I bet.
Can
bet.
how far down can I see now that I have dark vision in
You
this
could see-
water?
You could see the bottom of the 20-foot pool.
Is there anything in there?
Well, you see these beds of not seaweed, but basically like, algae beds. They're very soft, actually. You're like, if I was an underwater creature, I might want to sleep in this bed. And that's what it looks like. It looks like an algae bed. And
Any artifacts or anything other than
you
the algae?
see this necklace of coral.
I took those.
There are these. You see another one. Like when you're feeling around in the bed, you find another one.
Okay.
It looks like primitive jewelry. Basically, it's like colorful pieces of coral that have been strung through this kind of sinewy cord, which you're not really sure what animal body part that's from, but it's definitely something like that.
Okay.
And then it's you see this, and it's looks like it's made by some primitive craftsman.
Cool. Put
and
it,
you
put
also
it around my neck.
okay.
Nice.
So I need to know what Cade and Shao are bringing.
First, I need to talk to both of my brothers, and I'm gonna tell them like I can't, without taking a short rest, I can't turn into any more wild shapes. I have to rest for an hour. I used them both already.
Well, you gave us the gift of night vision and underwater breathing. We can go ahead and
Swim a bit. And see
swim
what
a
we
bit
can
and
see.
kind of explore on our own while you sit here and rest in this lovely algae bed.
Cade, I need to know if you're bringing a shield while you try to swim underwater.
Well, we haven't really confirmed that we're leaving right this minute yet. So I'm trying to tell my brothers if we wait an hour, I can turn into a dolphin and we can zip down this thing as you hold on to me and we all breathe water. And I don't lose my spells even if I turn into a dolphin.
Okay.
So you guys want to wait an hour at least?
Let's wait an hour.
Whatever you need.
So I'll say that while you're waiting for your brother to rest, Cho, you and Shao just
resting.
swim around in the pool and like get used
Enjoying
to
our water.
yeah,
breathing.
get used to the fact that you can see everything in the dark and you can breathe underwater, and it's kind of like, you do a little playtime sort of thing. And then Cade, after an hour, you feel restored. You feel like you're able to do your wild shape.
Yeah.
You turn into a dolphin.
Yep.
Your
And I
brothers
take,
grab.
a sword.
Okay. So you take the scimitar, you turn into the dolphin, and Shao, you and Shao grab a hold of a fin, and your brother Cade begins swimming through the caves.
Yes.
And you can see.
And you
So can I.
yes, and you can actually see. So you
The
swim
Jurassic
back.
Park ride.
Right. You swim back to the basically that you swim 1,200 feet
Yeah.
back down this dark tunnel. And as you guys are swimming, you see that this is, these are not man-made. These are like natural underwater fissures. But the interesting thing with dark vision that you're able to see as you're being towed by your brother as a dolphin is that the texture of this rock in these underwater tunnels is basically the same as what you saw up above in the bowl. It's a very porous kind of rock.
Mm-hmm.
You get back to the nexus point where you see the tunnel split off, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and it's much more, the water here is a little more fresh, for lack of a better term, because this is also from the ocean.
It's connected.
Right?
Yeah.
And you see the options, you see a tunnel that goes straight down, and then you see another tunnel that goes off to the right, and then the tunnel that goes back out to the ocean.
Yeah.
So down or right are both options that you guys could experience or could check. It's up to you.
If memory serves me right, when I went down and into that cavern, I didn't see or hear anything.
Right.
When I
so
went
the down tunnel went down further and then straightens out and goes towards the center of the island.
Yes.
And then it kind of opened up into a cavern with kind of stale air.
Yes.
And you didn't sense anything with your blind sight.
Right. I'm gonna take us there first.
Okay, so you guys swim down. Your ears pop. You swim down 60 feet down this basically sunken well almost, and then it levels off. You swim another 1,500 feet again, and it opens up into a huge underwater cavern. Okay, so those of you as a dolphin, he can't see these like you guys can. But you see yourselves in a cavern, not that different from the one that you found all the loot in, okay? But this doesn't have anything in it, and the air is very stale. There's no shaft of light coming through. It doesn't seem like there's any access to the land above from this cavern. It's just a pocket of air and then stagnant kind of salt water.
You're muted.
Any
brother.
any markings on the wall or anything like that we see?
And
what about?
Nor is there any evidence of like algae beds or coral necklaces or anything. This doesn't look like it's been inhabited.
I tried to throw my head at because there's like a shore right in here.
Yeah.
And I try to throw my head at the shore and click and whatever dolphin noises they make at my brothers. Check it out.
Yeah, you guys walk out and you have dark vision. There is nothing all the way around the shore. There's no side tunnels. There's no shafts that go up to the surface. It is just a, stagnant underwater air pocket.
Yeah, we need to leave this. There's nothing here.
There's nothing here for us, brothers.
Okay, just wanted to see if maybe you found something, investigate.
You guys go back, right?
Yeah.
Swimming, back up, ears popping, back now to the last tunnel. Now, the last tunnel, if you might recall, you did hear some sounds.
Yep.
So it sounded like there was something in there, but you didn't see what it was. As you guys are swimming there, you travel south, actually, for about 800 feet, and then slightly east for another 400 feet. And as you're approaching what you see with dark vision, what you see is another kind of opening into a cavern. What's your distance on blind sight?
60. But I even as a dolphin, I have dark vision. My spell doesn't go away even though I changed.
Okay, so as you guys get to it, to the opening of this underwater cavern, each one of you make a perception check.
Yes.
14.
Finally, something good. That's 23.
12.
Okay. Now, I want to just summarize. By this time of day, it's been a couple hours since your encounter with the fisherman, right?
Yeah.
And you took that, of rest. So it's about, it's 4:30 or 5, let's say. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys see that there is, you're imagine you're swimming through this underwater tunnel, and you see up ahead with your dark vision that there's another big opening into a big cavern and a pool. but you see 4 creatures in the shallows of that pool, not on land. They're in the water.
Mhm.
That's why you see them.
Mm-hmm.
You see 4 creatures that look like they have legs and maybe claws, but they're big. They're not like the crabs that the fisherman caught this morning that you guys cracked open and ate. These are like big crabs.
Right.
And there are 4 of them that you see.
Mm.
Anything in the
You can't see.
belly of this? Okay.
Well, no, you could see into the the pond, the basin of the, that part. There's nothing there, but you can't see up onto the shore unless you swim into the cavern. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You guys, like, you didn't swim in and then look around and see these crabs. You're like hanging back before you swim in, and you see like them kind of slowly moving around in the shallows. But you can't, unless you go into the cavern, you can't see what's up above on the dry part.
Are they the size of a small dog or larger?
Maybe a little bit bigger than a small dog.
So, like,
They're
mastiff dog size?
yes, but they're crabs. So
Yeah,
they're
but crabs.
shape, not height wise, but overall, like they are giant crabs.
Yeah. Huge freaking
with
crabs.
big
With
and
really
skinny
big pinchers.
chitinous legs and crab shell,
Mm-hmm.
thick
Oh.
crab shells.
I look at my brothers in dolphin form, and I kind of give them. I don't even know if dolphins can like raise an eyebrow, and I'll be like, "You doing this?"
You can nod. Huh?
I'm a little hungry.
All right.
One of the crabs start going, and it's walking towards the tunnel where you guys are.
How far are we? So we're tunnel mouth. How
You
far is the
are
shore?
30 feet from the entrance of the tunnel
Okay.
to the cavern, and the
How
cavern
deep
is
is it in the cavern?
20
How
feet.
deep does the 20 feet deep still? Okay.
All right.
That's why you can't see where you're
I
coming.
take-
You can't see what's up on the shore unless you
Yeah.
swim up to the air pocket.
All right.
You can see.
I hope this doesn't screw us over. I'm gonna blast to the shore and like leap with my
Okay.
brothers and then drop wild shape as we land.
So I'm going to
Grabbing
say
that
that
scimitar.
I'm going to say that you can make a charge attack as a dolphin against
Yeah.
the crab to basically blow
Yeah.
past him to do your move.
Yeah.
So make that attack first.
Okay, let me get I have the window open for dolphin charge attack. That
It's so exciting that you're making an actual dolphin attack. That's
right. I tried one once and it didn't go that great. This one didn't either. It's a 12.
you punch past it,
Mm-hmm.
not doing any damage.
Right. It's
So
not
you
the point.
punch past it and it kind of like spins out of the way because it's a
Shoulder
dumb crab.
brush.
Yeah.
You swim and you dive up. So brothers, all of you have to make a acrobatic check
Yeah.
to not slam into the shore in an awkward way.
21 for me.
Oh, that was so much better.
22 for me.
My acrobatics is what is it? It's switching windows. 20. Dirty 20.
Oh. So all 3 of the Sacuran brothers just ninja roll up onto the shore. Yeah, that makes sense. It's
Three
time for
ninjas fight
initiative,
back.
everybody. Roll initiative. Oh, the
Natural 20 on the freaking initiative,
Nice.
man.
18 for me.
No, I wanted to hit that. I want to hit somebody with that.
for show.
And that puts me at 22.
Cade 22. What did Shao get? 24.
Or
Just 4.
Oh,
yeah,
just-
natural 1.
Oh my god.
Hey, I looked really good coming out of the water though.
Yeah, you
Hey,
did.
yeah,
Right?
that's all
You're
that
too
matters.
busy with
That's all
making
that
sure your
matters.
hair looked luxurious.
You rolled. You flipped
Did
back.
the
you're sprayed
did the
salt water all over
shampoo
the wall.
commercial? Shampoo commercial, like wave of the hair.
All right,
Right.
Cade, you're up first. You see that 3 of the crabs are
Mm-hmm.
moving as swift as they can crab walk towards the shore where you guys landed with their trying to pinch you.
Yeah.
So you get to go.
I don't know what it's gonna cost me to toss the sword to my brother. Is that an action?
I'll say that
bonus?
can just be your bonus.
Okay, that's my bonus. Okay. Where are they? So I'm gonna back up actually, and I'm gonna tell my brothers back up on the shore. I'm gonna do something as they come up on the shore.
So you back up. The
30.
wing of the shore around the interior pond is 20 feet from the water to the wall.
Water
so
to
you back
wall.
up.
Yeah, I back up to the wall, I guess. I don't know. Is there an entrance behind me as I look?
No.
Okay, great. I just get to the wall. I'm like, brothers, get back here.
Okay. You move. Your bonus action was given your brother the scimitar, and then you move. You can still do something. Are you holding your action for the crabs?
So I need to know where the crabs are exactly.
So the three crabs are basically converging on you guys. The one that you blew past won't get there till next round, but three of them will be coming up the rocky beach basically to convert.
On their turn?
Yes.
Let's flank them and funnel them into the center.
Yes. Well, I got something going on. I'm gonna hold the spell.
Okay.
And
what
when
spell
they
are you
get
holding?
erupting earth.
Okay.
Is when they get within my range, which is like a 20-foot cube, and my brothers are not in there either because I'm telling them to get back.
Yes.
I'm gonna release erupting earth.
Okay.
Hopefully catch the three of them at least.
Okay. So Shao, you hear your brother. Well, he gives you the scimitar and he tells you back up. He backs up against the wall. Your move, backing up against the wall. Zhen. Yeah.
Yeah. Backing up.
And Shao, you're going to do that as well.
And off to an angle so that I can have flanking perspective.
Okay. The crabs move up in this line because they're not strategic. They're just all like, coming at you guys. That is basically the point at which the moment they leave the water, you funnel the erupting earth at them. So the rocky earth just
20-foot cube
into a fountain of
spikes and
like rock and debris and blows up at them.
Yeah.
They have to make what? What's save?
It's a deck save.
So versus your spell save DC. So one of them,
which is now 15.
One of them definitely fails. Oh, 15?
Yeah, it's 15 now.
Dang. All three fail.
There
were two that had 14, two 14s and one 5.
Nice.
So all three of them fail. What's the damage on that?
3d12 bludgeoning damage.
No.
Jeez. Leave some for us, brother.
Ooh, yes. 22 bludgeoning damage.
Crab legs for dinner, boys.
Right?
Making a
yeah.
sauce.
So literally what happens is 3 crabs blow up, and you do have crab legs all over you. And crab number 4 spends his round moving towards this, and despite the explosion, he spends his entire round creeping up to you guys, which brings us
it's difficult
back
terrain too.
To Cade.
Man.
No, I'm sorry, Cho.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just holding my action. I was holding my action.
Show you if your intent is to stab crab number 4, you would have to wait till next round because he's not in your range.
He's not in range. I'm using this round to assess vulnerable spots in the armor of the crab.
Okay. What's left of the 3 crabs that were exploded seems to have a spot between the back carapace and the underbelly where it's pokeable. Shao, you are currently also in a position where you would have to wait until next round to attack crab number 4 because it is this round not near you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm holding my stance.
That brings us around to Cade, so top of the next round. So crab number 4 is approaching you guys. and will get caught in the difficult terrain, which is going to cut
Yeah.
his movement to 15.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he will get to the shore. He'll get to the shore, but not actually get to you guys. So, what do you do?
I hold an action to kick the crab in the face. He gets close.
Okay. Cho, you can move up to the crab and attack it.
Yes, using my dash technique, I am going to try to plunge my brother's scimitar into the soft spot, like an assassination attempt.
I see.
16.
That is a hit. Roll your damage.
What's the scimitar damage, bro?
D6.
D6.
D6. 4.
Okay.
Do you get sneak attack because
No.
you're using a
No.
feature?
They know
Oh,
we're
he
not.
doesn't. Because both of them are on difficult terrain, and the crab has blind sight, so it knew he was there.
Yeah, gotcha.
So he takes that damage, which brings us to Shao.
Shao attempts to strike that same area that brother just pierced.
Okay.
And I'm gonna roll twice here. 25 and a natural 20. That's a 27 total. It's Wang Chang tonight, boys.
So it's dead. But how do you envision you with your fists destroying this crab?
Well, I see that opening that my brother Cho created, and then I just flurry of blows in there, and my hand just penetrates through all the way through the other side, and just grab whatever. If it's a heart, kidney, whatever, and just yank it out.
So you guys see, like, Shao, it might just be pent up anger and frustration, but you see him, like, run and hammer fist, and then the second punch literally punches through the shell. And it sounds
Lack of drink, brother.
It sounds like a massive cockroach being squished, right? Like you hear the crunch and then the squish, and he pulls his arms out, and it's covered in crab guts.
My god.
And the crab body just collapses onto the rocky brain.
The fulfillment is mine.
Lord.
Just how we feast.
You guys,
Raw crab.
you guys look around this cavern, and you guys came in, kind of blew through, went up on the shore directly across from the entrance. As you've now turned around and you face the tunnel entrance from which you came, to your left, about 30 feet away, you see kind of an alcove, not man-made, but just like a natural, kind of like semicircular cutout in the stone cavern.
Mhm.
And you see a kind of like a collection of things. You see several large shells that are inverted, okay? Like, imagine like sea turtle shells, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That are like inverted. So they're kind of like a bowl almost.
Oh, yeah.
And they're on a table, but the table looks like bones. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 4 large,
Yeah.
you don't know what kind of bones, but they kind of look like bones from a big sea creature. And this bowl, and then all around the bowl in the alcove are a series of like hunks of coral, these different like large chunks of coral that are kind of in a semicircle. And then you see in the middle, above the ledge with the coral, is the skull of a shark. But the size of the skull of the shark is bigger than any shark you've ever seen.
Oh, shit.
It's like the top part of it is as big as the archway to the alcove itself. Like, you could walk through its jaws. That's how big it is.
Oh god.
So
Lord.
go ahead and make religion checks.
Okay.
All of us?
Sure.
Oh.
I would like to use my guidance because I have no religion.
Your mark of
You
reboot.
know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that too. Why not?
Okay, fair enough.
17.
That's 13 plus.
Yeah.
16 total.
I'm saving mine.
16. Okay, so
I
you guys
rolled a 4.
you guys walk over and you're looking at this. This is obviously something that was set up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this has some religious significance to it.
Mm-hmm.
As you approach, you see that the inverted turtle shell that is kind of like a bowl,
Mm-hmm.
it has water in it. And you sense that it's not salt water,
Mm-hmm.
like fresh water, which is curious because there's no way to get out of here.
Yeah.
That is very
And it's full.
nice.
Yeah.
Like it's full, like it was filled.
Yeah.
Is-
You do a little like taste fresh, not stagnant. As you get closer, you see the coral, these chunks of coral make those little necklaces that you found look like child's toys. Like these are huge chunks of coral.
Right.
You see that the shark skull and the fangs, the teeth of the shark skull are enormous and looks like it's very old. Like it's like looks like it's bleached white,
Yeah.
almost, like it's been in the sun, or it was in the sun before coming here.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all of these things, and you see on the wall there's a crude kind of like carving, like somebody took something sharp and carved into the cave wall in this shrine, and it's a depiction of a humanoid shape with like a shark head. It basically kind of looks like the sea devils that you guys have encountered.
Right.
Now I have a question. Is the cavern damp? Like if the dampness would like drip
That is a
into
superb
this?
question. No,
Yeah, like
you see
perception.
no mineral deposits, no stalactites, no roots or anything growing in through the ceiling. This is still very much under the surface of the ground.
And there's no signs of fire that perhaps somebody boiled the water and
No sign of any
of that.
fire.
There's
Nope, no sign of any fire. And the water that you swam through to get here was obviously still salt water. But this water in the bowl is fresh water, like drinkable fresh water.
Brothers, this is quite the find. What do you make of
What
this?
did you get
What did
for your religion
Six-
roll, Cade?
Yeah, I was gonna say 16. I got 16.
So you're not really sure what religion this is, but you and your brother Shao are fairly certain that it has to do with the sea devil creatures that you guys have encountered, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
However, you have a different, unique sort of insight
Okay.
because
Of my
you're a druid, you know that you can make water.
I know I can do that.
And it occurs to you that if you could do that, maybe there are other people who can do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've met other druids of my own race, but it's not to say that there isn't other druids of different races.
Correct.
As I think about that, and I look to my brothers and I say, it's come to my mind, this bowl of water here is quite unusual, as I'm sure you both realize, considering how we got in here through the seawater, and you've seen me create and destroy water. This leads me to believe that maybe some of these sea devils have the same powers as I.
It's a possibility, brother, but we haven't seen any other than the two that we dealt with,
3.
which is kind of perplexing because this is a pretty elaborate
Which
cave
is
system,
what?
and the amount of debris that was, or the crates and all that stuff that were stashed in the previous cavern, how did it get there? There must be multiples of them, but obviously there's none inside here.
Currently, but this whole setup that we're seeing right now, even though I don't know what their religion or their culture whatsoever, it doesn't matter. I understand from my own interactions with others of my type and powers that this is a shrine basically to whatever they have it, worshiping or whatever. Obviously,
Yeah,
a
there's
big
it's no,
shark.
it's no doubt. I completely agree, but it just
So they, yes.
no, it just doesn't make sense that there's nobody here other than these crabs.
It is weird, and they could be coming back later. Who knows? But I just know from all this here that they probably have others with abilities very similar to mine.
Are there fresh sea devil footprints along near the altar?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, you know what? You said you looked. I'm not going to have you make a perception roll. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have you make a perception roll, but I'll give you advantage on it.
Okay. 13.
You see prints that look like they came out of the water and walked up to this area and maybe went back to the water. They match the similar print with the webbed footing as the ones you saw, but they're about twice as big.
Of course they are.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers, these footprints are similar to what we've seen, but they're quite large. There has to be a nesting spot somewhere where they are all held up.
I don't doubt that at all, brother. I'm going to cast detect magic.
Ooh.
Good move, brother.
Ooh, detect.
You see me just start waving my hands, and then you see a little glow around my eyes or something like that.
Nice.
You cast detect magic,
And I get blinded.
and you no,
My eyes.
but you sense that there's something magical, an enchantment about the turtle shell that is currently a water bowl.
Right. What type of school enchantment?
Oh, that's a good question too.
Make him work.
We made it work just by coming to this island.
Yes, right.
Oh yeah. I think it's transmutation, but hold on.
Okay.
Yep,
It is?
it's transmutation.
That's the only magical item?
Yes. Okay. The sea turtle shell is the only thing that's magical.
Okay.
Take it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Even though it's probably gonna piss somebody off, like whoever those footprints are,
They're not here.
right? Okay, as I do that, and you guys see me do that, you know by now what that means. And I'm gonna point at the shell. That's magical. There is a very distinct magic of transmutation attached to that shell
And enchantment.
and
And
enchantment.
Last time we saw a magical item and left it behind, we were forced to suffer because of it. You should take this for sure.
Absolutely. Brother, Cade,
Yes,
put it to the test.
yes.
Get some salt water. Dump that water. Put some salt water in it.
An
See what
interesting
happens.
test. Okay, an interesting test. You want Okay, I'll dump the water and I'll get some salt water and examine if anything has happened.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
It's still salt water.
Okay.
So it's not a recurring
Maybe,
automatic thing.
Hey,
Yeah, maybe with a little bit of study time with it, I might be able to discern. But I don't think we have the time right now. It's pretty late, and I'm getting hungry. I think we should go back.
grab some crab legs.
Yes.
You're back.
There's strewn everywhere.
Yes, we salvage all the crab meat we can.
There's not a whole lot left to salvage. Most of it just got blown apart. But
Yeah, I blew them up.
but you guys, so you're. I'm assuming if you take the shell and you turn back into a dolphin, you're going to
If
tow
I'm
everybody
holding it.
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll meld into my beam.
So you
Have
do.
we searched the last the extent of this cavern as far as we can find?
Yes. I
There's
mean,
no
the rest of the ring, there's like literally nothing else in this cavern.
Okay.
There isn't even like the algae beds in the water. Like this is
Right.
just this shrine. And so you swim back. You go to the
I just tow us on the shoreline all the way over.
okay. That's what I was
Might
going
as
to
well.
ask. Are you going to go back up, or are
Might
you
as well.
okay?
Yeah,
So
just
you're
use the
going along the
dolphin.
shoreline. You go around and you come back around to the camp.
Yeah.
You get to the camp. I'm assuming that you stop short of the camp and you guys get out somewhere and
Yeah.
you turn back into.
No, how about we do another three ninjas just jumping out of the water again?
Up to you.
The three ninjas. Let's do it.
I'm ready to
Let's do
roll
that.
again. Athletics.
Nine.
Or
Oh, wait.
acrobatics.
Acrobatics.
25.
Acrobatics. I'm using my
Oh,
inspiration.
Jesus. Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
me too.
screwing this one up.
This was bad.
Oh my
Alright.
god.
Are you
Okay,
going to use
that's
your
fine.
inspiration, Shaozan?
Yeah, 15 on that one.
Oh, that's fine.
Not as great, but
You
not
guys
as
swim out.
graceful.
You land on the beach in this amazing humble roll. Cade with a wooden shield in one arm and a giant in a big turtle shell in the other.
That's what kind of jacked me up because I rolled a 6. Because I'm carrying all that stuff.
You know, you startle a few of the fishermen, but they're all like, oh, the brothers have returned, and it's evening. You know, it's like 6
Yeah.
o'clock at night now. So you see
Yeah.
people are eating, and like some of them stop and they're like, oh, you know, Captain Fu comes over. He walks over and he's like, you have been gone a long time, brothers. We were slightly worried. You.
Wanted to be
Have
so
found-
cool.
He looks at the shell and he's like, you have been fishing.
Of
Oh,
sorts.
this is only one prize today, Captain. I have wonderful news.
Speak of it.
And are we in proximity? Sorry, not to interrupt. Are we in proximity of
go ahead.
ourselves?
He walked up to you guys. So
Okay.
you're like kind of by the shore. Everybody else is back in the big communal tent, like
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I lean in the captain. We found a ship.
a ship. How?
It was a fisherman's ship. My brother spotted it a mile off the coast, and I referenced where we were. And I went and talked to them.
What kind of men were they?
I described they were like not Sacuran. I think they had like curly black hair, more tan,
Brown.
I think.
Around large eyes. with
Larger,
beards.
yeah, larger eyes.
Ah. Perhaps they were Iraqi.
We were able to communicate a little bit. They couldn't come to us today, but we were able to communicate where they would come to us tomorrow. About noonish, and I tell them the time at that location where we found them. I told them that we were shipwrecked here. I got that message across, and that we were Sacuran.
This is great news.
There are settlements to the east in that point.
Did they say what island they were from?
I couldn't get that,
But
But
you
but
spoke
they were
Nisia.
fishermen. They spoke some words of Sacuran, and we used some of the Nicean trade language to get our messages across. They only seemed like fishermen. They didn't carry weapons. They only had normal fishing gear, a couple harpoons and nets.
And they were of a similar size to us. Height.
They were.
Yes.
They were, right, Bill?
Yeah. They were not much taller and fair-skinned.
No.
Ah, good. This is good. The Iraqi are reasonable folk. This is excellent news. We should prepare.
Definitely.
I will suggest that everyone sleep tonight with a few guards on watch. Did you come across any more sea devils? Were there any dangers?
We came across a few crabs, like some pretty big ones, and I go like that.
Show my leg.
He's like,
we killed them. We killed them quite easily.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
But during, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so he nods and he's like, "Oh, that is formidable."
But during we didn't even tell them about where we discovered up there, so we need to tell them about that too. But in the caverns, we explored all the caverns that we could. There's 3 routes: the loot pile that we found room, another one that led to nothing, and then we went to the 3rd one, and that's where we found the giant crabs. But in that room, we found an altar of sorts, and it was an altar to something, and we think it's those sea devil people that we encountered. Because within the altar there was a monstrous sized shark mouth or skull, right? Skull. Bill?
Yes.
Yeah.
He nods and he says, "I have heard of sharks of that size. I have not seen such things near any of the larger islands where I have traveled."
Right.
He says, "This is most excellent news. We should prepare. I will advise all that we sleep tonight and rise early in the morning, and
Yes.
not waste time with fishing or gathering, but just gather up only what we need and prepare to make way to where you have suggested we wait."
A word of caution: if we're carrying the weapons, we need to be very careful because they might think we're pirates. So how we present ourselves is going to be a key detail in how we receive.
I see.
Might I suggest that we wear our Sacuran clothing and none of the clothing that we found here on the island to not give a false appearance. So that way at least it's a cohesive Sacuran look to avoid any conflicts.
And will we want to leave men behind to keep the camp secure, or will everyone go with us, Captain?
I suppose that is a choice that will need to be made. If there are some of them who wish to remain behind, I am not their father, nor am I truly their captain, as I have no ship. Each man must make his own choice. I, for one, will join you and go where you go, as it is my intent to find a settlement and perhaps a larger city on one of the larger islands where I could find employment on a ship again.
We also found this cool turtle shell.
Yes, it's admirable. It is also a large shell.
It's magical in nature, Captain. It was on the shrine. It was at the altar that we found.
So,
I'm going to study it and see what I can find out.
Very good, very good. This is welcome news. I will now speak with the rest of the camp and inform them of the procedures that we intend to make. And he bows He walks back over to the camp. What do you guys do as the sun is setting? You're
Yeah.
back at the camp.
Should we tell Mother?
I think that's a good idea.
Agreed.
So-
While you guys go talk to Mother, I'm going to go look through the weapons pile.
To
Okay.
summarize, I will tell you that, you tell your mother about this. She is elated that you have found this, and she's, she begins saying prayers of thanks, and she kind of, she doesn't have anything really to gather other than what you guys found in the loot piles, but
Yeah.
she's eager to see what tomorrow will bring.
Mm-hmm.
Shao, you were looking through the loot piles for weapons. What weapon do you want?
I am looking for daggers and small weapons that I can hide on my person.
Yeah, there are plenty of daggers.
And multiple.
Yeah. Plenty of daggers.
I'd like to pick up a dagger just for backup purposes.
Okay.
And I question the coral that we found. Can I have that in my possession as well? I mean, were there abundant amounts? Are there a couple of them? How many?
From the shrine?
Yes.
That wasn't like a
Because I didn't have anything. So.
Yeah, so I mean, you have the little coral necklace that you took, but you didn't take any. You guys didn't take any of the big coral chunks that were on the shelf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cade,
Yes.
do you spend time prior to bed attuning to this shell?
Yes. If it's tunable.
It is. As you sit in the camp with the sound of the ocean and the tide, you meditate upon this shell, and you begin to understand several things about it. Number one, it is extraordinarily sturdy, and it could be used with the addition of a leather strap. It could be used as a shield, and you feel like its enchantment is such that it, despite its size and its durability, its strength, it's also very lightweight.
Oh.
And that with proper study and the addition of a leather strap, the fastening of a leather strap, it could be used as a shield.
Okay.
But you also get a sense that there is a undercurrent of magic that works with this in a transmutational form
Mm-hmm.
that allows you to purify anything that is put into it as a bowl, whether that's water or even food, potentially.
Outstanding.
Okay.
That this
Wow.
has the ability to purify that which is put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you finish your meditation upon it, you realize that it's not a word like many magic items might require.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sound. And you begin to understand that the sound that you have to make in order to activate that purification power of this shell
Mm-hmm.
is similar to the soft lull of the ocean.
Okay.
And as you kind of have this in your hand, you test this out, and you put some salt water into it, and you put it on your lap, and you imitate the sound that you hear of the ocean as it's coming onto the island, and you make this sound, and it's like shh. And when you make that shushing sound, the water kind of glimmers for a moment, and then you scoop it up with your hands, and it's fresh water.
That's really awesome.
And you have this realization as you prepare for sleep on the island, for what might be the last night on this island before you are rescued. But we'll find out what happens at the dawn on the next episode of High Adventure. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for subscribing, for all of your support. And if you're not a subscriber, please hit that button, subscribe, click on the notifications bell so you don't miss the next episode of this ongoing epic adventure. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Well, hello, it's me, Wizzy. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. And then don't forget to tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and crafting videos and DM tips and pro tips for vlogging and all sorts of gaming things.